The tires screeched, the world slowed down, and in that instant, everything changed. Ryan Mercer, 24 years old and son of one of the richest businessmen in the city, had always believed the road belonged to him. A flashy sports car, loud music, and the arrogance of youth were his trademarks. That afternoon, distracted by a phone call and speeding through a quiet neighborhood, he didn't notice the woman crossing the street, until it was too late. He slammed the brakes, but the car clipped her side, sending her sprawling onto the pavement. Gasps erupted from bystanders. The woman clutched her stomach, her face pale with shock and pain. Ryan's heart pounded. He jumped out, panic mixing with irritation. Why the hell was she even crossing without looking, he muttered, more worried about scratches on his Lamborghini than the woman lying on the ground. "Call 911, someone shouted. Ryan knelt awkwardly beside her. She was pregnant, clearly in her last trimester. The sight made his chest tighten, but pride kept his voice cold. "You'll be fine. Just, don't move." Within minutes, the sound of sirens cut through the chaos. Paramedics lifted the woman gently, asking her questions, reassuring her. Ryan paced beside the car, torn between calling his father's lawyer and disappearing before reporters arrived. But then, he overheard one of the paramedics whisper, "We need to make sure the baby's safe. She's due in just a few weeks." For the first time, the weight of what he'd done pressed down on him. At the hospital, Ryan sat in the waiting area, restless. He told himself he had no obligation to stay, he could walk away, and his father's legal team would sweep this under the rug. But something strange tugged at him, like invisible hands keeping him in that sterile, white-walled corridor. After an hour, a doctor stepped out. "The mother's stable. Baby's heartbeat is strong. They'll both be okay." Relief washed over Ryan, though he didn't understand why. Then the doctor added, "Her husband is on his way. He's someone you should probably meet." Ryan frowned. Why would he need to meet her husband? Minutes later, a tall man in worn-out jeans and a faded jacket rushed into the hospital. His boots were caked with mud, his hands rough from labor. But what caught Ryan off guard was the man's eyes, filled not with anger, but with raw, overwhelming concern for his wife. "Honey, I'm here," the man whispered as he entered the room, taking his wife's hand. Ryan stayed near the door, unseen, but he could hear everything. "I'm sorry," she sobbed softly. "The car." "Shoo," the man soothed, brushing her hair gently. "You're safe. The baby's safe. That's all that matters." Ryan expected curses, threats, maybe even violence when the husband eventually learned who had caused the accident. But instead, all he saw was love, patience, and gratitude that his family was still whole. Ryan swallowed hard. Why didn't this man rage at the unfairness of it all? Why wasn't he demanding justice? Later, when the husband finally stepped into the hallway, he noticed Ryan. "You're the driver?" he asked, his voice calm but steady. Ryan straightened, bracing for confrontation. "Yeah. Look, it was." But the man cut him off with a small nod. "Thank you for staying. Most wouldn't have." Ryan blinked. "You're thanking me?" The man gave a tired smile. "Accidents happen. What matters is owning up and making sure people are okay. I can see you're shaken too." Ryan didn't know how to respond. He had braced himself for hatred, but instead, he was met with compassion. Compassion from the very man whose world he could have destroyed. The husband extended his hand. "My name's Daniel." Ryan shook it, feeling the roughness of calluses, the kind that only came from years of hard, honest work. Over the next few days, Ryan couldn't get Daniel out of his head. He learned that Daniel worked double shifts at a construction site just to cover rent. That he often skipped meals so his wife could eat better during her pregnancy. That despite everything, he never complained, never once played the victim. Ryan found himself visiting the hospital again, this time with flowers. His father scoffed when he heard. "Why waste time on people who'll probably sue us anyway?" But Ryan couldn't shake the image of Daniel's steady hands, his calm voice. One evening, Ryan entered the room to find Daniel humming softly to his unborn child, his wife smiling through her recovery. Ryan stood frozen, a lump in his throat. Daniel noticed him. "Come in," he said warmly. "We were just talking about baby names. Got any ideas?" Ryan chuckled nervously. Not really my area." "Maybe one day it will be," Daniel replied kindly. Something inside Ryan cracked. For years, he had lived believing money and status were shields against pain, that nothing mattered beyond his own pleasure. But standing there, in a modest hospital room filled with love stronger than wealth, he realized how empty his life had been. The real turning point came a week later. Ryan offered to cover all medical expenses, a small gesture, given his wealth. Daniel accepted but said something that shook him. "Money helps, but kindness lasts longer. If you really want to make it right, don't just throw cash at problems. Be there for people. That's what counts." Those words burned into Ryan's mind.